Hey, Ty here, so welcome to the VR Tech channel and welcome to this Through the Lenses video. Sort of. I saw a lot of confusion online and even disappointment over the announcement of the Steam Frame, the next generation virtual reality headset wireless from Valve, mostly because of the screen quality and resolution, and second because of no direct DisplayPort connection, like we always loved in PC VR. Valve though advertised a cable quality thanks to a new technology, Foveated streaming, the ability to use full bitrate on particular parts of the screen where you're actually looking at. But can it get as good as a cable connection? Also, is this resolution and these kind of screens enough for 2026? Those are good questions. So in this video, I wanna analyze a bit and try to reproduce what it means to use a Steam Frame already, and we can kind of do it because from 2022 we have an LCD display with the same exact resolution and same type of lenses that we're gonna have on the Steam Frame, with also Wi-Fi 7. So we're gonna try to see how the Steam Frame will actually look and even compare it with the previous Valve Index, for example, the Pico 4 with the same resolution and even a bit with the Quest 3. Is it worth the shot? Let's find out. Making this video was a lot of trial and error and it took very long time, so I want to thank an old sponsor of mine, Viaim, and their open notes AI-powered earbud. You guys liked it last time, so they wanted to be heard again. These are way more than your usual earbuds, as they can be your personal assistant, translator, note takers, on top of course of playing your music and your games. They have an open ear design, so they provide no pressure to your ears, that they don't seal completely from the outside world, keeping it comfy while also being extra stable and providing way more battery life. Up to a crazy 19 hours on a single charge and 53 hours thanks to the charging case. They feature real-time transcription that is super handy for school or writing down scripts for videos, as they can capture your conversations, reading, lessons, everything, even listening to a YouTube video, and turn them into readable text to be enjoyed later. It even extracts key points and creates to-do lists automatically. They also have AI-powered translation with up to 17 different languages, real-time, all via the Viaim app on your phone. To use it is super easy though, as you can just pinch the earbuds and the record will start automatically. Also, if you're like me and you like to use it with different devices, you can switch between them easily with a tap. And for active VR users, there's also IP55 dust and water resistant, so you can sweat in your Beat Saber sessions. And about that, my favorite feature is of course the gaming mode, as it reduces latency quite a bit. So check them out in the description below, and thanks to Viaim for making this video possible with their open note earbuds. Let's get back to the video. Alright, let's start right away with the basis and the specs, because the Steam Frame is gonna have two LCD displays with a resolution of 2160 by 2160 each eye, running up to 120 Hz with a lab mode of 144 Hz, exactly like we had on the Valve Index. It's gonna be paired with two pancake lenses, custom made with also glass elements to actually avoid and get rid of some of the glaring that we usually have with this kind of lenses. The secret powder of this headset will be the very low persistence, so no smearing on the screen, that is very good for motion sickness, and the ability to use the cameras pointed directly at your eyes to actually do foveated streaming or foveated encoding, so using the bitrate in the part of the screen that you're actually looking at during gameplay, enhancing the quality of the video streaming itself. To get an idea and similar results, as we said, we're gonna use the Pico 4 Ultra in this case, that has a Wi-Fi 7 connection, so fast enough to have a very high bitrate. It has 2160 by 2160 each eye. It has pancake lenses, so very clear indeed, but we don't have eye tracking for the foveated streaming, but we have some tricks that we can use. By the way, even in the future will be very hard to actually get through the lenses shots of this kind of headset and show the actual quality because of the fact that the lenses of the camera, here we go, are not seen as a pair of eyes, so that means that they're not gonna know where to put the resolution in the spot that the camera is looking at. And that's kind of a reason why I was never able to actually make a through the lenses video for the Apple Vision Pro, for example, because the eye tracking rendering is actually the system level, so there was no way to trick it and keep the same resolution in the middle, also doing PC VR streaming. But with Android systems like the Pico system, Quest system, and even Android XR, we have virtual desktop. And that as a setting that we can actually use to emulate a bit what it means to have the entire bitrate, the full bitrate, just for a portion of the screen. And that's the FOV tangent. So that means that having a smaller FOV, we're gonna use the bitrate completely just in an area, emulating a bit what the eye tracking would actually do on the Steam frame. There are actually headsets that can do it already, like the Play for Dream over here. The problem though is that the panel is much better quality than the one that we're gonna have on the Steam frame, because here we have a resolution of 3560 by 3880 each eye, micro OLED display, so it's not even comparable. And while I can't really show you the results because of the eye tracking issue, I actually tried it already over there with Virtual Desktop to see if it will be a similar situation to what we have on Steam Link using the Foveated streaming, and actually it felt very similar. So I'm confident that this is a good way to actually show you how the Steam frame will look through the lenses. So with the bases down, we're gonna use the Pico 4 with a 40% FOV tangent on the horizontal and on the vertical side. Why using the bitrate smartly is very important, by the way. Well, to actually stream from the PC has to compress the file, and then the headset will decompress them to actually show them in your full field of view. The problem though is that compressing, we actually lose quality. How good is the compression? Well, depends on how much bitrate you're actually using, and when you decompress it, it might look like a full of artifacts, looking really like a TV show that you're streaming from the internet, never feeling as sharp as it should. So being able to use the bitrate in a smart way is completely critical. And after doing this test and seeing by my own, I can tell that I'm very confident of what the Steam frame can actually do with this technology. The resolution is still not the best though, so be aware of it. And that was a very long explanation, but kind of needed. But yeah, going through the shots, you can actually see the difference right away. We are using the panel at full resolution, and you can see the book, Crazy Egg book, in Steam VR, how different it actually looks. I can super sample as much as 350%, while one is still on 2160 by 2160 each eye, and yeah, the quality is still pretty much the same with much lower load on the GPU and the PC that we're actually using to stream. I think that a great example is actually in Elite Dangerous. On this panel over here, you can see how artifacty things look. The problem is mostly for things at the distance, and this is not so far, but already we can see the results of the compression and decompression when it comes to maybe just the texture, like it is over here. And changing into the emulation of the Foveated streaming, well, it really makes a difference in clarity, making things more readable and feeling a bit more grounded in the environment around you. I wasn't able to reshoot an entire True Analysis video. If that's something that is interesting for you, well, let me know, and I can actually work on it. But I wanted to show you the Assetto Corsa comparison that I'm always doing. And it seems like we're using a completely different headset. And bear in mind that we're rendering at the same resolution, and even higher when we're not using the Foveated streaming emulation. As I said before, though, the difference is really noticeable at distance when we see the cars going away. In the regular streaming that we had since today, it's kind of becomes a blurry mess at the distance, very shimmering. Instead, with the higher bitrate of the Foveated streaming emulation, well, we can actually see the cars well above what we were doing before. And I'm gonna tell you, this is very comparable to what we would expect directly with the cable. And by the way, this is a comparison with the Valve index So you have an idea of the jump in generation from one to the other, and it's gonna be pretty massive. And also we can see the comparison with the Meta Quest 3 with a very similar resolution indeed. So is this resolution actually enough? Well, let's say kind of no. Screen door effect will still be an issue over here. What we're gonna be able to do is actually to use the screens as a best way possible, similar to what we had on the HP Reverb G2, for example. The only headset with a 2160 by 2160 each eye using a DisplayPort cable. So this will feel very similar to that, with also the addition of having pancake lenses with much better clarity than the Fresnel lenses that we had on that headset. But yeah, I think there's a reason why they also went with this kind of resolution, is because this resolution will also hide a bit the fact that we are not actually using a display port. It will feel very similar also because of that, because if we go to higher resolutions like we have on the Play 4 Dream, for example, yes, will look drastically better, but when you try something with the Mega Nex, it will not feel the same, even if it feels very, very similar. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of sad to see an LCD display again in 2026 for a VR headset. So yeah, not ideal. And when it comes to brightness, it's not really that big of an issue as they want you to believe it is, because brightness is very subjective. Once you are in an enclosed environment, like it's a VR headset, like the Valve frame, well, your eyes are gonna get accustomed to that kind of brightness. So even if it's not extra bright, you're not gonna notice as much. In fact, the Play 4 Dream with micro OLED displays and with pancake lenses that they cut down the brightness quite a bit, I still have to use that at 40%, because if not, the contrast of the stars in Elite Dangerous will actually burn my retina. So yeah, it's not like a phone screen that you can bring outside and you need to see it. That thing is gonna be in an enclosed environment, so it doesn't really matter as much as you think. Cost for sure was a big factor, but I think that the biggest thing is the fact that to be able to give it quality that is good enough wireless, they couldn't go too high in resolution, and that's why I think they went that way. Is it a bad screen? Is something they're not gonna be able to enjoy? No. Absolutely no. I enjoyed for a very, very long time the Pico 4 and the Pico 4 Ultra. They are still great when it comes to resolution. People are playing every day with the Quest 3 that has a very similar resolution, so that's not really an issue. It's just how the market is going right now with these micro OLED displays that look like 10 folds better. Yeah, it's kind of sad. But anyway, guys, I hope I didn't go too long with this video. I really wanted to give you an idea of what the Valve frame will look like. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and share with people if you feel that it's valuable for them as well. But anyway, as always, if you like the video, if you did like, please like, subscribe to the channel for more VR tech. If you love the channel, join button on there. To learn further, also the Patreon. Thanks to all the patrons who join the channel, of course. See you guys next video. Thanks for watching. Ciao.